Before I bend this thing in half, let's quit.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back. As you read already in the title of this video, I did in fact break my Matryx already. Some of you could possibly maybe have an idea of what was going on, but I'm about to dig into it. So when you build something, especially when you stray from what other people have done and so on and so forth, you're gonna encounter failure points, breaking points. I tend to find them quite often because I am pretty hard on stuff. So when I built this sled, I knew what I was building it for, but at the same token, I can't really stop myself from doing some things sometimes. So when I built Bruno, as you guys know, we are building a speed machine with the big wheel kit and gearing and clutching and so on and so forth. But my background is snowcross, and sometimes I can't shut that off. So as you guys saw in a couple videos ago, we were launching Bruno pretty far. When I got it in the shop, I started looking around and I'm like, that doesn't look right. And that is what leads me to this segment. I have bent my rails. I know, bent them already. I have 115 miles on it. So, again, when I built this, the purpose is not to go and jump it and snowcross it and, you know, fly through the air with it. Yes, they're very durable, even with the big wheel kit, but they're not meant to do what I was doing. So this is all self-inflicted. I'm gonna take 110% of this blame because it's my fault. So the way that the big wheel kit works, it does put more torque back here. So your axle and everything comes through here. So when you're landing, 60, 70 foot jumps to flat on the back wheels, something's gonna give sooner or later. So when I got it in the shop, I was looking and I was like, they look tilted up a little bit. So I pulled everything out and here we are. So as you can see, they are not very square anymore. Problem. Because obviously you want everything to be true and square and everything else back there. So talked to a couple guys, thought about my options, and I could have got brand new rails again from Polaris. And I decided not to go that route. So my workbench is a mess because I've been kind of working on these. I called my buddies over at Ice Age Rails. So they build direct replacement rails for, I don't want to say all sleds, because it's probably not all sleds, but a lot of sleds. They're supposed to be stronger, more durable, and frankly, they're cheaper than the factory rails. So I ordered up a set of these. So these are direct replacement 129 rails. They're the Bomber, that's like the model number is, or model is Bomber rails. And I also got their extra added brace. So these things should be nice and tough. I'm gonna try and be more conscious of what I'm doing with this, because again, I know it's not a snowcross sled and it's not going to hold up regardless of what I do. So I need to just tone it back a little bit. But I know my adrenaline will get the best of me at some point and I will do it all over again most likely. So tonight, our game plan is to pull the skid out of Bruno and get it on the ground, and I gotta start transferring everything over here. So this comes as a kit. So you get the rails and you get the high facts. So high facts you have to cut to length, which I did that earlier today. And it comes with new tensioner mounts, just because the ones on the factory are riveted in and you cannot, I mean, I'm sure you could get them out, but. So they send you new ones with bolts and you pretty much bolt them right out. These rail braces, you had to drill these two outer ones, but that's super simple. Put it in, tighten that one up, mark it, drill it, that's done. So they're ready to go. So I just need to get that skid out of there and transfer everything over. I don't think I'm gonna do it my typical way of flipping it on its side. I might try to do it right in the air like that. So if you guys don't know how to take your skid out, it is this rear bolt on both sides and then this front bolt on both sides. So you drop them out, watch the bushings in it, make sure you pay attention to the way that they come out, and the whole thing will drop out. So I'm gonna try and have the track hanging, obviously. So I think I'll be able, just if I drop it, just pull it right out. So I'm gonna get to that and I'll get back to you guys here shortly. So as you can see, we have the skid out now. So I've actually never done a rail change. So I'm at a kind of a learning curve here. So I don't know the best way to go about it, where to start, but this is my thought process on it. So all of this is all connected. So your arms, your shocks, your torsion springs. So where I'm gonna start is I'm going to pull the torsion springs off. I'm gonna start there, release them. Well, I'm gonna take the arms off again, the torque arms, release the pressure, pull them out. That's all in an earlier video. And then once I relieve all the pressure, I'm gonna take the limiter strap off, and then I'm gonna start with the solid, just braces. So like the limiter strap bar. So like I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna start with that one, and I'm gonna start with this one. That way I could get this set up so it's sturdy, so that it doesn't fall over. And then I will see what I need to take apart here to transfer it over to there. I don't think it's gonna be too hard, but again, I just never done it, so I can't say, hey, do this first. But I think I got a pretty good game plan of how to tackle it. So that's what I'm gonna start with first. Phase one, as I'm calling it, is now complete. So we have the torsion springs off. The torque arms are two 13mm bolts, or bolt and nut. You just crack them loose and they will pull right off of that shaft. So just pop them off. Gotta pull the little cotter pins out of the sleeves here, which look like this. And then you literally just lift the torsion spring out. We got our limiter strap undone, so now there's no preload or anything on that. So again, as I said, I'm gonna do the solid pieces. So again, this bar and this bar. We're gonna pop them out. I'm gonna put them in this one, just so that's not tightened. Don't tighten anything yet. Nothing gets tightened yet. So I'm gonna put them in there loosely, just so that has some construction to it. And then we're going to pull the center heart of this beast out. Again, I've never done it before, so I'm just kind of shooting from the hip at this one, and I think this is gonna be pretty good. Big to do if you are doing something like this. Take a lot of pictures before you take anything apart. So once I got it up on the bench, I took a ton of pictures, and they're all saved in my phone. Don't lose your phone, don't do anything like that. Don't lose the pictures in your cloud or something. Take pictures, because then you could go back if you don't remember where something was, and boom, oh, okay, that goes there. Huge help, has saved me many of times. We are moving and grooving in here, so I went a little bit further than I said I was going to. I got these straight braces over here, so they are holding them from falling over. I broke all of the nuts and bolts loose that need to be removed. I didn't take them out yet. I needed to take all the bogey wheels off though, because I couldn't get to some of the bolts and whatnot if I did not have them out. So they are in line, or in order of how they came off. So this is left, right, and so on and so forth. Just because I like to put them back in the same place that they came out of. I like to get them spinning the same way, everything like that. So they're probably gonna be last on the list to put back on there. So my game plan right now is, if you look at everything, and it's gonna be pretty tough, especially being a one-man band tonight. So everything is connected here, right? So we have this one that goes straight through, this one down here that goes straight through, this one goes straight through, and then these holding in. So my game plan is to take all that out, essentially crane it from here, bloop, and then drop it in. Sounds really nice, but it's probably gonna be really hard. Again, I only have 2 hands today, so that's gonna be pretty tough. But I think that's the easiest way to do it. Instead of disassembling everything, I'm gonna do it in one huge chunk. Now, I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm also gonna grease it while I have it out, considering that they're easier to get to. So we'll go from there. But everything else looks good. Everything else still looks straight. Nothing looks out of whack too much. You know, nothing looks cracked or anything like that. So that's always a big plus. And again, guys, I am taking full responsibility for this. This is not an issue of Polaris. It's not an issue of big wheel stuff. I knew what I built. I knew what I had. And I just pushed the limits too far. And here we are. And again, it is what it is. You know, I've broken more stuff than I've probably would care to remember throughout the years. But that's the name of the game. If you're gonna change stuff and you're gonna push the limits, you're gonna break things. So I'm at the point to lift this whole centerpiece totally out and go and transfer it over to the new rails. I know I saw a lot of you guys questioning that movement, and I know it sounds crazy. Wow, I have my light on, that's bright. Oh. Okay. I know it sounds crazy, but that is technically speaking the way that they are supposed to be, which is nuts. If you are going to do this, make sure you see where the washers come off, where they go. There's a lot of washers that go, we're totally out. They go like in between the shafts and the rails. It's hard to explain, but just make sure you pay attention to that, because that is a huge, huge part. So again, I'm gonna lift that on over to here and start putting it back together. I mean, little by little. It's gonna be pretty crazy, but I'm gonna set you guys up here, I think. Sorry, I went silent there. That was pretty tough. So it is a lot. If you had an extra set of hands, that'd be really nice, or even an extra hand by yourself. It's tough just to get everything started. So now everything it's through. All the washers are back in the appropriate places. I am going to put a little dab of blue Loctite because I do not want this coming loose, but I also don't want it to be in there forever. So we are going to, like I said, grease it, Loctite it, and get these all tightened up, and then we're gonna come back here in a little bit. Best advice that I could give you once you do this whole center section is start in one spot. Get one set of bolts in, and then, you know, work around from there. But if you try and get, you know, bunch there, you're never gonna get it. So just start in one spot, one set of bolts, go from there. All right. So we got all of the big bolts, important bolts. Let's turn our light back on. In there. So we got this one done, that one, that one, that one, that one. So this whole center section is now in there. Loctited, again, I used blue because I don't want it to be in there forever, but I also want it to not fall out. So now I'm gonna do like the miscellaneous stuff. Earlier today, I did one of the rail caps. So I gotta transfer the other one over there. These front bump stops I gotta do. The torsion spring slides and the rear coupler blocks. Ow, that is really sharp, whatever that is. So I have to just bounce over this miscellaneous stuff, which really won't take me too long. Then I'll throw the bogey wheels back on, throw the torsion springs in there, and go from there. So It is, you know, a little bit more complex job than normal, but if you just pay attention to what you're doing and don't rush through it, it'll go pretty well. So as you can see, well, let me compare the rails. Yeah, should have did that before, but I didn't. So again, these are direct replacement rails. It's not gonna stay. They are identical. It's the same pattern as what Polaris offers. They're just a little bit stronger. They are a little bit longer. Ooh. They are a little bit longer back there. Never realized that till now. So, but that's just adding a bunch of support back there is pretty much what we're gonna be boiling down to. So the track will run a little bit differently. It's just gonna have a little bit more support right there. So, but as you can see, I mean, look at all of this is cut out in the factory stuff and not in that. I don't know what material it is. It's supposed to be, you know, harder, stronger stuff. So, like I said, we're gonna go with it. It's not like I really have an option. Also, this is, oh boy, I gotta shut my light off again. This is happening Monday. I should be leaving on Friday to go riding. So I gotta get this thing done, wrapped up so I could head out and go put some more miles on. Which is why I was also in a pickle. So when I realized all this stuff, even before I heard back from Polaris about, you know, anything, I said, well, I'm probably gonna order these up and just sit on them even if I do get a set out of Polaris, but here we are. All the little knickknacks have now been flip-flopped over. So again, your front bump stops up here, torsion spring guides, rear couplers, everything's all tight, ready to go. My next step is, before I even put this on the ground, get this back in there. I will probably get my rear axle, get that reset in here before I throw it on the ground, and then I will put all the bogey wheels back in, which is a joy. Again, they are a decent amount of them, so you gotta watch where they go and stuff like that, but she's in there, she looks good. Like I said, just beefier, stronger, better. All right, all right, all right. We have a rolling rear skid yet again. So everything is done. This thing's ready to get thrown back into Bruno. Again, it is 9 o'clock. I still have actual work to do, so I'm done for the evening. I'm heading home. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I need to shower. I need to finish work. So, but that's it. That is little ins and outs of how to switch over rails in your rear suspension. Everything could be super complicated, especially if you don't know, you've never done it before, anything like that. You just gotta do it. I am one that I learn by doing things. So like if someone called me and said, you gotta do this, 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 and this, I wouldn't even know where to start. I just have to be hands-on, do it, and do it myself. And I learned. So now I know how to do this. Again, it's not the hardest thing. You just have to be, you know, smart in what you do. So I even went as far as painting the bump stops. Those, if you don't know what they are, they're just to see if they bottom out. So if you bottom this out, up here, we'll hit down there. And same as up here. Your front torque arm will hit down there. Believe it or not, I know it looks very far, but it does happen. So with that being said, we have our 9-inch rear wheels back in there. They are ready to go. There was no damage done to them at all. These billet blocks are super, super strong, and that's probably why this happened. So I landed sideways a couple times, like, and yeah, they just took a beating. So the factory ones are much more cut out through here, as we noticed before. The Ice Age ones kind of come down like that. Oop. And I now have grease all over me. And there's no cutout here. Why can I not hold this? There's no cutout here on the Ice Age. So they should be way beefier back there. I'm not saying that they're indestructible and this isn't gonna happen again, because you never know. But we're here to try it. So that's it for tonight. I will be back in the shop tomorrow night, throwing the skid in and getting it ready to go north somewhere. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I'm going somewhere this weekend. So I'll be back. See you guys tomorrow. We are back. It is the next night. It is already getting late, so I gotta hurry. Tonight, we just have to get the skid back in. I've gone over it a couple times, pretty simple. I've never actually done it on the stand, so that's what we're gonna try to do tonight, just because I don't feel like putting it on the ground, flipping it over, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna go ahead and lift this track a little bit. We're gonna slide this skid in there and go from there, see how good I could get it in there. So just as I end the other clip saying I was gonna try and get it in, being on the stand, that quickly went out the window and I went back to the way that I know to do it. So I've said it before, but if you guys haven't been following along, flip the sled up on its side. You're gonna pull the track out, you know, probably around here, and then you dive the skid in, you know, front end first. You get these two bolts in. It helps to have an extra set of hands, and then you just swing it up. This one is pretty darn close. You had to do a little muscling trying to get it in. And then I'll flip it up on its side and we'll get that last one over there. I probably could have did it on the stand, again, if I had an extra set of hands. But it's also good to flip it up on its side, make sure nothing's cracked in half or broken or anything like that. So we look to be all good. Studs are all intact, everything like that. So can't complain. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this thing. See if I can do it while I'm on the, I'll go over here. And again, I have my homemade dollar special here. Goes through the steering post, holds the sled up off of all the panels and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and flip it. Just like that, we are back on our 2 feet. Well, however many feet you want that to be. 3, I guess, technically. So, and that's what it looks like. Turn our light on here. That's too bright. Gotta get used to all this new equipment I got here. But Ice Age rails in and locked and loaded. Again, I just got to tighten everything up and go from there. I got to put that other bolt in too. But she's ready for this weekend again. Again, I'm heading up somewhere. I haven't decided where just yet, but we are going riding. Sorry, I'm sweating a little bit. You gotta work them things to get them in there, but she's in. So I'm going to button that up real quick, and then that's probably going to be about it. And just like that, we are all wrapped up here. So I just very quickly set track tension. I'll have to get it outside at a later date and really set it. Luckily, it is stretched. That was another thing I want to talk about. So after 70 miles, so the original 70 miles, I got 4 full turns out of my track adjustment. And that's how far it's stretched. So make sure on your initial rides, if you have brand new ones, if you just put a new track on, something like that, make sure to check your track tension because they do stretch. So we should be pretty good there. Everything seems like it fits perfect. I mean, obviously they're direct replacement rails, you know, same as factory, just a little bit stiffer, a little bit beefier, especially in the back here, which I'm super happy about. The rails are probably 2 inches longer on the bottom, so it's going to give it more support for back there, which, as we know, I need it. But other than that, we're buttoned up in here. I actually don't mind the white Hyfax. So excited. They normally come anodized, but because I was in a pickle, all they had was raw, so I actually went out and I rattle canned it, and they came out pretty good. They're going to chip. I know they're going to chip, but I didn't really have an option. So I have the clutch side panel off. I'm gonna just clean the clutches real quick, go through them, give them a wipe down, make sure they're all good to go. Everything looks good. And we're gonna go from there. But I'm excited to get back out on the snow. I'm excited to test these out. And we're gonna go from there. Again, this is no fault of Polaris or the big wheel kit or anything like that. This is just me testing the limits and finding the weak spot, which I'm eventually going to find. And I found it, which again is good that it happened the first run. I know where it is, and hopefully this season turns around, we start getting some snow, and I put some miles on. But I really want to get this thing out of break-in. So that's gonna do it. I'm gonna video a bunch of stuff when we're up there this weekend. I'm going to pick up my buddy's Matryx Assault, Chris, the one that went and picked up Bruno with me. His sled's done, ready. Shocks finally got there. So that's who I'm going up with. So hopefully we can make it all kind of work where we pick the sled up on the way up and we go and ride it. So I will hopefully kind of give you guys an overview on that and let you guys know how I think about that compared to the VR1. But that is gonna do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. I learned something. Hope you did at my expense, but that's all right. It is what it is. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be the test dummy. If anything or anyone wants anything tested, I'll take it. I will, I'll put it through the ringer. But that's gonna do it. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.